The idea really came to me as an independent pharmacy owner when I was looking at how we were servicing our communities. Hey, I'm AJ, I'm CEO and founder of Drugstore to Door. I'm also an independent pharmacy owner. There are so many owners like me across the United States that are helping people out in communities large and small. Why not give them all the same technology and capability that the big box stores have in large metro areas so that they can service their consumers in the same way? And that was the birth of the first version of Drugstore to Door.
My name's Jason Barrett. I'm a pharmacist here at Meds and More Pharmacy. Small businesses are the fabric of the community. I think everybody can recognize that. Drugstore to Door was actually birthed by a small business owner who is also a pharmacist. They're fighting for us. They want us to succeed. They know how important we are to the community. The community also realizes that, and so this just really helps us to take it one step further, and to stay on the edge of technology, to have this as an asset in our back pocket to be able to use, and not only are they fighting for us, they're also fighting, for the customers and just the people of the community. It just gives us another tool to work with.
Hi everyone, thanks for joining us today. This is AJ, CEO and founder of Drugstore to Door. I've got my colleague Phil Blauk with me here, our Director of Marketing. We are super excited today to present the launch of our podcast, The Pharmacy Project. We are not going to run a full podcast today. We're going to just bring you the highlights from our first guest that we were fortunate to have on last week. His name is Chad Brooks. He is in the automotive industry, and he's heavily involved in the digital marketing space of the automotive industry. His business is called ADS, and what he does is convert leads into car sales. And as we think about our industry and pharmacy, the whole goal with the Pharmacy Project is to go find leaders in their respective space or field or business or practice, whatever it may be, and bring them in and learn as much as we can about what it is they do. Because in reality, for all business owners, there are a lot of things that cross that are important that all of us do to really succeed in our businesses. And I know from personal experience that the majority of information that we get today comes from people inside of our industry. So whether we're listening to webinars or we're going to conferences, most of the time the information that we're getting are from other people that are kind of in the same chamber that we're in. With the Pharmacy Project, our goal is to kind of get out of that or break the shackles of that a little bit and bring some outside insight in. And my goal on our webinars is to give a little bit of insight into how do we link these two things together, or what's the application to pharmacy or pharmacy ownership. So I hope you take a ton of value away today. I hope you got a pen and paper ready, take some notes. My goal with each of these is to make sure we produce some actionable steps you can take right away. You'll be able to implement right after this webinar. If you want to watch the full podcast or listen to it, we are going to start posting these, make them readily available to anybody. We want you guys to succeed. That's our objective here. Go in, take a listen to it, watch it as many times as you want, have your staff watch it. Really use these to your advantage. If you have any questions or want to know more, we are going to post a message board as well so that you can ask some of those questions. In some instances, our guests will take the time to answer those questions back, or we will take the time to do it, or some combination of the both. So I hope you really enjoy this today. Again, we're going to hit the highlights, and I'll try to bring those in and wrap them together. Today, my focus is going to be this increased traffic that a lot of our partner stores have received from providing COVID vaccinations. We've seen a lot of opportunity to capture new leads, gain new business, and some of the strategies that Chad is going to talk about today, or that we're going to highlight today. I want to make sure that not only our partner stores with Drugstore to Door are taking on this opportunity, but that all of you guys that own pharmacies capitalize on the opportunity. I hope you enjoy. What are things that small business owners can do to effectively, what are the most common, if you had to prescribe 2 or 3 things for a pharmacy business owner or a car dealer.
Yeah, sure.
It doesn't matter who it is. From a marketing perspective, what would be those low-hanging fruit pieces you would say you should absolutely be doing right now?
Fair. Put me on the spot. Eh?
For sure.
You know, so, you know, I guess the way I would try to break that question down to AJ is, you know, if I started a brand new company today, whether it's an independent pharmacy, an automotive dealer, a new home builder, or anywhere on that spectrum, right? What would I do today that I just had to fail 13 years to realize that I probably should do these things, right? And so if there's a listener that sees this content and can implement one of those things, I think they'll be way ahead of the game. So in no particular order, here are some things that are just baseline, foundational. If you're not doing these things today and you own a business, then you're just going to have to outwork people. And I just don't think that that's a real great business model or business strategy. So from a sales and marketing perspective, here's the blocking and tackling, the fundamental foundation.
And I'm going to take notes because I'm going to implement these.
Sure. Number one, you cannot sell what you don't have.
Okay.
And let me be more specific. If you're a car dealership that's got 500 pieces of inventory, but there's only 200 listed with photos and descriptions on your website, as far as consumers are concerned, you have 200 vehicles.
Oh, I love that you brought that
So
up.
if you're an independent pharmacy and you've got 500 SKUs in your shelves, when they go to your website and they can only see 50, in their mind, you can't sell them what you don't have. So number one, this literally costs nothing. It costs you nothing except you got to pay attention. That's the only thing it costs you, a little bit of time to pay attention. Put your merchandise on your website. And I know that sounds so stupid simple.
No, you are preaching, and I know Phil's got to be dying laughing inside. And we did not plan this. Please make this clear. But that's one of the philosophies with Drugstore to Door is to take every bit of inventory a pharmacy can get their hands on.
Sure.
And make sure it's visible to the consumer.
Yeah.
So that the consumer's confidence skyrockets when they visit the retail side.
Well, I love to hear that, but can I be a little naughty?
Yeah, go for it.
That's not necessarily germane specific or proprietary to Drugstore to Door ADS.
Nobody.
There was this guy, he started selling books, right? Yeah. And now we all buy all of our groceries from him. He's made that the baseline expectation, right? If you don't put your inventory online, okay, Bezos is going to do it for you. But if he does it for you, ladies and gentlemen, then you're going to have big time problems. So do yourself a favor. Yeah. If you've got it to sell, make sure it's on your website. They're always sensitive to what do I spend, what did I get in return, okay? So the second thing I would say is this. You're never going to get a bad investment or bad return on your investment when you collect data in the process. So I would advise anybody listening, whether you're a dealership or an independent pharmacy, whatever you're doing for marketing, okay, make sure that you can measure how many more people can you have a two-way communication with. Because if you don't know that, then you're always going to be digging up the plant 5 days before it sprouts.
Right.
So it's the old saying, you can either pay the price of discipline or you can pay the price of regret later. And the only way I know how to get ahead of that is make sure that everything you do to market your business, even if you can't measure immediate return, you should absolutely be able to immediately measure how many new people am I able to communicate with. And if you can't, AJ, or anybody listening, then fire those assholes and hire somebody else.
So another fantastic point, because we talk a lot about touch points, the necessity for touch points on customers, whether that be a cell phone number, an email address, a Facebook account, whatever it might be where you've got a touch point with a customer is very valuable for the business owner, because now what we talked about earlier, that continual communication, you have multiple channels now to deliver that communication to those consumers, so you catch them when they are ready to give you their money.
That's right.
So another great point, and I think this is probably where, when Phil and I are working on some of the marketing initiatives and building funnels out on our side, we think a lot about that. It's not, we talk a lot about traffic first, transaction second. We're more concerned we are more concerned with how do we get more touch points and how do we get consumers in this thing that's in automation so that we can continue to deliver value to them.
So the third point is this. in I don't necessarily know how to deliver this in a way that it sounds good, but let me go on a brief. I think context is important, right? So listen, this is 2021, right? Like the internet's been invented, right?
Yeah, it's been around for a little bit.
Google is Google. It's been defined, right? Facebook's Facebook, Instagram's Instagram, TikTok. You got WhatsApp, you got Messenger, you got SMS, you got all these things, right? So here's the reality of it, AJ, is that the only thing that really matters, the only way you can compete, particularly if you're not one of the main players in a space, you've got to deliver a better experience to the customer. So my third bit of advice, as backwards as it might sound, if you're trying to run a sales and marketing organization, if you could put what your business needs in the back of the seat and just think about, what does this customer need? Mm-hmm. And how might we be able to better communicate that, hey, we know what you need and we'd love to be the person that gives it to you. As simple as that sounds, I think you'd be amazed at how much more effective that is than trying to serve the need of a business, which is clearly to make more money.
Yeah, so how do you identify, so you've laid out a couple things so far, and I want to make sure that people, again, they don't have to hire us, don't have to hire you. They
Sure.
can take this on themselves if they choose to take this on themselves, but they need to collect more data points so they can communicate with customers. They need to make sure that whatever it is they can sell, that services included, exists somewhere online so
Right.
that a customer can see the full catalog of those items. That is a little tougher thing to tackle. The first one's very doable for anybody without bringing anybody else on. And then the third one you're stating here is understanding the customer's need.
Yeah, it's in other words, it's not about you, it's about the consumer. So let me give something maybe more practical that somebody could implement.
Okay.
Right? So in other words, a lot of businesses want to focus how many leads they got, right? And I don't really care how many leads I've got.
Okay.
That doesn't matter. What I care about is how many two-way conversations do I have?
Okay.
So, like, I'll give you a good example. Most businesses don't really know how to use Facebook and Instagram. Like,
Right.
they just fundamentally don't know how to use that.
Or they use a third-party service that puts up cute puppy dog pictures
And the same queue as everybody else and doesn't get them anyway two-way conversations, but reports on metrics that do not matter, like reach and impressions and shares and likes and comments, right? So for any listener out there who's like, oh my God, I don't know nothing about all this, but I'm here to make money, right? Let me make it real simple. Generate more messenger conversations, right? And listen, I'm trying to tell you, I don't know much about the pharmacy industry, okay, but the retail automotive industry is about as hard of a cookie to crack because of the old Robin Hood analogy, right? Mm-hmm. I can tell you for a fact, when you create a two-way conversation with the consumer, you flat out sell more of those people than when you take them through a binary, submit my lead and let me have my sales guy call you.
Yep.
Because it's 2021, so it doesn't matter if it's WhatsApp or Messenger or SMS. Those are a few of the really easy ones that anybody can go do these days.
Right.
They don't need Chad Brooks or they don't need AJ or drugstore to door ADS. So what I'm really saying is when I say put your needs behind what customers want, I'm saying the best and most effective way to do that without having to be IBM is just create more two-way conversations. Because it's the funniest thing. If you ask people what they want,
they'll tell you.
Yeah. Isn't it funny?
What's amazing too, what I see is we don't ask that question. And the other thing we do is we spend a lot of time thinking in terms of what would we do.
And that's what I mean by saying like, hey, I'm a sales guy by nature and I know what I want to do. I want to make a shit pot full of money. And any business owner that doesn't have a similar goal probably shouldn't own a business. But that's exactly what I mean, right?
Yeah.
So there's what Chad wants this customer to do right now.
Yeah.
But then there's actually this other more powerful thing, which is what does this customer want? And anytime you're able to create a two-way conversation, they're at least twice as valuable as a lead.
Perfect. And can those two-way communications be botted or automated?
Oh, sure. Yeah, there's a
to
ton
some
of.
degree?
So anybody out there, there's a company called ChatFuel, right? It's which maybe there's a resource section or something that I wasn't necessarily prepared for this, AJ. But I've got a long list of really low-cost tools that are not proprietary. There's no secret. By the way, I don't believe in secrets. I believe there's assholes who keep secrets, and then there's people who share secrets that help other people. But that's a whole nother point. So yeah, there's an app out there called ChatFuel. Okay, and they're a major player in Messenger. And any business can buy their subscription. It's $15 a month. You can go in and customize your workflow rules and your automation and stuff, and you can start having two-way conversations right now for $15 a month. And put that app on your website, right? Because you'd be amazed if you get 1,000 people come to your website every month. You'd be amazed at how many would actually tell you what they want if you just had the means to ask
them what they wanted. Yeah. And something we struggle with in pharmacy is we have websites that are glorified landing pages. They serve no purpose. There's not a high traffic count to those areas. And, we would argue, obviously, from our standpoint, that there's really nothing there to consume. That's why nobody goes there. You can't go there and action something. You can't action your need immediately. And that's obviously a problem we wanted to solve for independent pharmacies. But for an auto dealer, they can solve a problem. I mean, today you don't even have to. The last 2 cars I've purchased, I didn't step foot into a dealership. It was purchased online, conversation online, and car delivered to the house.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, that's the society we live in. We're doing it with cars. We're dang well doing it with our groceries and our food and our, all the other things that we get as consumers. Chad, thank you so much, man. Phil, anything else last?
No, that was amazing. Really appreciate it. That was an amazing first podcast. I think you brought a lot of value to everybody that hopefully listens to it, right? So, really appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure, Phil. Absolutely.
Thanks, man.
Absolutely.
Glad to have you. Man, lots of great value there. I hope you guys took a bunch away from the top 3 items that we asked Chad to share with us. So preliminarily in the interview with Chad, he talked a lot about helping mid and small size car dealers compete against the big guys, and really focused on helping them thrive in an environment that's just as tough as ours. It's a very slim margin business. He made that very clear. He also talked about ad spend in excess of $200,000 a month. He brought up a lot of points in our earlier conversation around really being consistent in the marketing message, staying on top of those customers. He made it very clear that it's not a factor of how you get the leads or how you close the leads or how you get them to transactions, but it's when. It's a matter of when they're ready to buy a car. It's a matter of when they're ready to purchase a prescription. It's when they need the thing that you're presenting to them. And the only way to really get to that goal is to be consistent. Be consistent in your messaging, your offering, etc. So there's a few things he said here, and I promise to God they were not geared from drugstore to door in any way, shape, or form, but it just goes to prove that we are really, really focused on providing tremendous value, and we know the things that we need to be doing as independent pharmacies. And it's not a one-trick pony here. We don't get this done overnight. It doesn't happen instant. These are things that we have to put into motion and keep in motion. And, the 3 highlights he brought up is, 1, making sure that everything you can sell is available to your customers, not only in your store, but it's available online. So that's a philosophy of drugstore to door here. Whether you're utilizing our platform or not, you should really think about this. And COVID is a great example. This was the first time I've watched pharmacies take and put into action a booking system or a booking process. Obviously, we built one to help the industry out. We're super excited we were able to help so many pharmacies, close to 1,000 pharmacies utilizing the product. But the key here is this is a great way for us to look at how we're providing all of our services and how we're capitalizing on them. So with that increased traffic, utilizing a booking system like we do through drugstore to door, we captured a very important thing, which is the lead of the customer, the opportunity to communicate with that customer again and again and again and again, and to also show them all the other things we can do. The OTCs that we sell, not just what's in our store, but everything we have access to. The other items that we sell, proprietary products or other things that we get from local vendors, making sure that's available to everybody who comes across us, whether they come across us online or in our stores. With the COVID vaccination piece, now we have the ability to go and try to convert as many of these non-customers into customers for our partner stores. So as you guys have given vaccinations, you have taken a lot of valuable information in that process. And as Chad mentioned, don't let that go by the wayside. Make sure that you are staying in constant communication with the customers you do have or the patients you do have, and then the ability to go get these new patients that you have access to and you've been fortunate enough to gain access to because they came after something that was in high demand. The other piece of that, and that really kind of bleeds into the second point he made here, which was that data and making sure you're using the data. So we work with a lot of pharmacies, and they're hyper focused on getting that transaction or that instant gratification. But the success is in the traffic, the success is in the two-way communication, the success is in the ability to continue to reach out to those customers so that when they are ready, you are there to solve a problem for them. And that leads into his third point, which is customer focused, right? We think a lot in terms of what it is we want to do or what we think will work, but we're not consistently thinking about who our target demographic is and what's really going to work for them and what problem do they have that we can solve. And a lot of the time I find pharmacies don't even ask. Ask your customers what they need from you. That's where you'll succeed. Provide them the thing that they're asking for. So Chad brought up some amazing points. My goal with our guest every time is to get some actionable items from them. So at the end of all of our interviews, I'm always asking, what is it that we can do right away? What is it that you're doing? You don't have to go buy anything. You don't have to use us. We're here if you need us. But what are things you can do right away? So I hope with this, you go back and take a hard look at the COVID traffic that's come through your pharmacy door. You've looked at the booking opportunity and you start thinking around, man, I could maximize my ticket size. Whether I'm giving a flu shot, I'm doing a diabetic class. These are all products. These are all things that as a retailer, you should be able to offer these services online and then increase the size of the ticket. So if somebody's coming to your diabetic class, you've got the ability to sell them the nutraceuticals that go along with the class, and they can toss it into their cart at the same time they're purchasing the class. Same thing with COVID vaccinations. We did COVID testing. We help people put products up for COVID testing. Same thing here. If you've got a customer coming in who thinks they might be COVID positive or they're coming in for a rapid strep or a rapid flu, do you have the ability to sell them more products in that process, increase the ticket size, build credibility, and then also schedule the event in a way that would happen if they were going to a doctor's office or a different facility? So a bunch of awesome stuff from Chad. I'd love for you guys to go back and listen to the whole thing if you have the time to do it. Again, the link is going to be shared here. We also put stats up throughout the webinar. Take advantage of those. If you need to go back and rewatch them or you'd like a recorded webinar to go back and take some notes on, please let us know. Again, we'll have a messaging board. We'll share that as well here. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you took a tremendous amount of value with you. Remember, if there's anything we can do for you from the drugstore to door side, if you want to get your site up and rolling, if you'd like to open an e-commerce store, please let us know. We have all of that pre-built, ready to go with a lot of enhancements to help you succeed in your pharmacy. Thanks for giving us the time today. We appreciate it.